Yes, sir. The Phoenix Suns are going to the playoffs, boys. Let's go. The Phoenix Suns, baby, for the first time in 10 years. We haven't seen the Suns in the playoffs since 2010 when they faced the Lakers. They unfortunately got beat by the Lakers in the conference finals, but that doesn't matter. That's in the past right now because the Suns are going back to the playoffs, baby. Let's go. First time in 10 years. Going, back to the playoffs. We're going. You know the vibes. What's up, boys? Shout out to MDB fam. We're back with another video, and today we're talking about the Phoenix Suns going to the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. Devin Booker is going to be a superstar this season. Okay? And we're about to get straight into it. We're going to talk about the offseason the Suns had, the moves they made, how they're not a top team in the West, but how they're going to be in the playoffs in the West this year, and some of the moves they made, how their lineup is looking, stuff like that. We're going to start off talking about the incredible performance that the Suns had in the bubble. They went 8-0 in the bubble. They were by far the best team in the bubble. Just unfortunately, they didn't make the playoffs. They just missed the play-in tournament by a game or so. I think it came down to the last game that the Blazers had with the Nets. The Blazers beat the Nets, so unfortunately the Suns did not make the play-in tournament. But the fact that they came that close just goes to show how great the Suns played. Going into the bubble tournament, a lot of analysts, I'm not going to say any names, Zach Lowe, we're talking about, why are the Wizards being included in the bubble? Why are the Suns being included in the bubble? You know those are just going to be easy wins. Then these guys went on an 8-0 run. Talking about buzzer beaters. Talking about the Devin Booker lean back buzzer beater. Why are you guys talking shit like the Suns are so trash? They're not finna do anything. Then they went 8-0. We're the best team in the bubble. Monty Williams won coach of the bubble. Devin Booker almost won player of the bubble. Damian beat him out, but Devin Booker was right there, second place, I believe, in voting for player of the bubble. Like, the Suns are not a joke. They went 8-0 in the bubble, and the other 8 games they played, 7 of those 8 teams were above 500 teams. So I don't want to hear no bullshit about, the Suns were just beating weak teams. We can't do this win the regular season. Wait till next season. They're going to do the same thing this season. The Suns got better this offseason. They played great in the bubble without Baines, without Oubre, and they got better this offseason. They added players this offseason that we're going to get into. The Suns are better all around. They won 8 games without Baines, who played very well for the Suns last year, was one of the reasons they were off to such a good start last season. They did without Oubre, who was the team's second leading scorer after Booker, by the way. Like, bro, let me show you guys some stats. Before the bubble, the Suns were 19th in defensive rating. After the bubble, the Suns were 4th in defensive rating. Do you guys get that? The Suns were 16th in offensive rating before the bubble. They finished 2nd in offensive rating during the bubble. Michael Bridges improved a lot, showed some of his prowess on the defensive end, locking down guys. TJ Warren was one of the biggest scorers in the bubble. Michael Bridges locked him down. Locked him, clamped him. Michael Bridges is one of the best young defenders we have in this league. His three-point shooting is coming along season after season. We saw Cameron Johnson, 4-year player out of college. He was balling out in the bubble, shooting 39% from 3. Like, what more could you ask for from the young boys? They're showing promise, showing that they're ready to run with D-Book into the future. DeAndre Ayton making strides on the defensive end. He's always been productive on the offensive end, but now his defense is coming along too. If his defense can continue to improve, then the ceiling is the roof for DeAndre Ayton. Shout out to DeAndre Ayton, bro. As I said, Monty Williams was the coach of the bubble. Saric has earned his minutes. We had them Bulldogs off the bench in Javon Carter and Cameron Payne. Bro, so that's the bubble. Now we're going to move into talking about what they did to improve. So the areas of improvement for the Suns, in my opinion, and Suns fans, I want to know, where do you guys think that the Suns needed to improve this offseason? Me personally, I felt like they needed to improve in their turnovers because they were the 7th worst team in turnovers last year, and they needed to improve defensively. Because as I told you before the bubble, they were 19th in defensive rating. So in my opinion, they needed to improve in their turnovers, and they need to improve defensively. And I think they improved in both those areas with the signings that they got this offseason. They added Chris Paul. Chris Paul, the point guard himself. No one could have predicted that Chris Paul would be going to the Phoenix Suns next season. Nobody could have predicted that. We heard him going to the Knicks. We heard him going to the Lakers. We heard him going to the Clippers. Nobody could have predicted Chris Paul going to the Suns. If you said last year that Chris Paul was going to be on the Suns going into next season, you should play the lottery because no one predicted that, dog. Honest. No man predicted that. CP3, the point guard, going to Phoenix. He's going to have Devin Booker scoring 30 points a game, dog. Devin Booker was already averaging 30 points a game in the bubble, 30.6 assists. Playing alongside Chris Paul, the point guard himself, Devin Booker's just going to get better shots, more open shots with perfect passes. Chris Paul, one of the best passers we ever seen in this league. He's going to be passing the ball to Devin Booker in the pocket. Devin Booker catch and shoot. Blam, splash. 30 points a game. I'm calling it now. Devin Booker is going to average 30 points a game, and he's going to make an all-NBA team. I dropped my lighting. Hold on. I had to pick up my light. I fucking dropped my light because I'm getting too amped. Devin Booker is going to average 30 points a game and make an all-NBA team. Whether it be first or second team, Devin Booker will make an all-NBA team, and I bet that. I put money on that. Anyone disagree? Tell me in the comments why you disagree. I think Devin Booker is making an all-NBA team. Chris Paul's going to have this guy scoring way more efficiently. His field goal percentage will go up. His three-point percentage will go up. He's not going to have to expend so much energy on offense because he has a guy like Chris Paul that can run the offense and facilitate for everyone. And by saving that energy, Devin Booker will be able to put more effort on the defensive end. I already think he's going to be more motivated to put effort on the defensive end because his team actually has a chance to taste the playoffs. Once you see that the light at the end of the tunnel, you see the chance that you guys actually can do some damage in this league, that's going to motivate guys to put more work in. I think Devin Booker is going to put more effort in on the defensive end because of this. So they got Chris Paul. They got Jae Crowder. He was one of the most highly sought after free agents in this free agency, and the Suns got him. So that just goes to show how much respect the Suns are getting right now. Every team in the league damn near wanted Jae Crowder. He's a great 3-and-D player. He can play the 4 or the 3, and he played great for Miami. He was shooting like damn near 40% from 3 in the bubble for Miami. Any team would be lucky to have Jae Crowder, and the Suns got him, bro. I'm telling you, I could never predict these moves. I would have never predicted the Suns getting Jae Crowder, and I never would have predicted the Suns getting Chris Paul, but they did it. They did it. This is not the Suns that we've known over the past 5 years where they just get beat up. They just get beat up, and every game it's like, let's see how much Devin Booker can score, because that's the only entertaining thing on the Suns. It's not like that anymore. The Suns are actually a real team in this league now, and they're ready to compete for the foreseeable future. Devin Booker actually has a squad of guys that he can run with now. So they got Jae Crowder, one of the most highly sought-after free agents in free agency. They got Langston Galloway and Etwuan Moore, both of which are 40% three-point shooters on catch and shoots. You know what I think when I hear 40% three-point shooter and the name Chris Paul? I think buckets. When you're a 40% three-point shooter and then you're playing with one of the best playmaking point guards in the history of the league, that sounds like buckets to me. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like buckets to me. That sounds like straight buckets. They signed 2 40% three-point shooters, and I told you, Jae Crowder was shooting 40% from 3 in the bubble. Langston Galloway is known for being a defensive tryhard. He puts a lot of effort in on the defense. So you have Jae Crowder and Galloway both bringing that defensive energy. I told you that the areas of improvement for the Suns, they need to improve their defense and their turnovers. Chris Paul has one of the lowest turnover rates in the league, in the history of the league. His assist to turnover ratio is one of the best we've seen in this league. So their turnovers are going to go down because you're putting the ball in the point guard's hands. Chris Paul, baby. Turnovers are going down. No disrespect to Rubio. Rubio is another great playmaker, great guy, but there's just levels to this, guys. There's levels. There's point guards, and then there's point guards. Chris Paul is a point guard. So the turnovers are going down with Chris Paul on your team. The defense is improving because you brought Jae Crowder, you brought You brought Langston Galloway. You got Michael Bridges, who's already balling out on defense. You got DeAndre Ayton, who's making strides on the defensive end. And he's only going to be more motivated to put an effort on the defensive end because he's going to have Chris Paul feeding him in all the right places, setting him up for lobs, getting him amped up, setting him up for dunks that he can get excited about on the offensive end. If you've ever played basketball, boys, you know that you get more amped to play defense after you just did something cool on offense. Like if you just hit a step back three in a man's face on offense, you're going to be running back to defense like, let's go, dog, let's go, because you're excited. This is just going to get DeAndre Ayton more excited to play defense when he has a man like Chris Paul setting him up to be successful. Like, I'm just really excited for the Suns. Like, let's go. You guys are going back to the playoffs after 10 years. We haven't seen the Suns in the playoffs for 10 years. Since the 2009-2010 season, boys. So they got Galloway, they got Moore, they got Abdel Nader and Jalen Smith. Two good guys that can contribute to the rotation as well. They lost Rubio, they lost Oubre, they lost Ty Jerome, they lost Jalen LeCue, and they lost Baines. You're going to miss Baines, you're going to miss Rubio, you're going to miss Oubre, but I think they have enough players on this team that those minutes can get replaced no problem. They re-signed Dario Saric, they re-signed Etwuan Carter. Dario Saric showed that he's ready to play the stretch 5, the stretch 4 in the bubble. He showed that he's ready for those minutes because he was shredding bench units in the bubble. He was shredding bench units, okay? He's a pick and pop threat, and he can shoot alone. So he can do catch and shoot, and he can do pick and pop. So Dario Saric, he found his role in the bubble. He's going to be the backup 4 and 5 for the Suns. He signed a 3-year, $30 million contract. That's beautiful. $10 million a year for Dario Saric. I'm not mad at it. Etwuan Carter, him and Cameron Payne going to be the bulldog guards off the bench, just putting in that work, doing what they can, hustling, getting out the mud type shit. Like, they're not the most talented guys, but they definitely hustle and they work hard, and I like that. I like guys who are willing to hustle and work hard because that spreads to the rest of the team. So that's what they did in terms of moves. Now, as I said, they're going to be less turnovers due to Chris Paul, better defense due to Michael Bridges, due to Jae Crowder, and due to DeAndre Ayton's improvement on defense. And we're going to see more energy from Booker because he's going to be more motivated now that he sees that he's going to be going to the playoffs. He's going to have more energy to put in on the defensive end. So their defense will improve. They're going to have less turnovers. Now let's talk about the lineup because I think the Suns are going to have a lot of great lineups they can throw out there. They have a lot of versatility because of the length of some of their wings like Cam Johnson, Michael Bridges. These guys are just very long. You have Jae Crowder who can play the 4 or the 3. You just have a lot of versatility and guys that can play different positions. So you're going to be working with a starting lineup of like Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Michael Bridges, Jae Crowder, and DeAndre Ayton. That's a solid lineup, boys. That lineup can go up against the best teams in the West, and it can really compete. You got Michael Bridges. He'll guard the LeBrons and the Kawhis of the world. Then you got a guy like DeAndre Ayton. He's going to match up against the Jokic's and the Embiid of the world. You got CP3, the point guard. You got Devin Booker, shooting guard. He's going to be guarding the guys like Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell's of the world, putting buckets on their head. And you got, as I said, Jae Crowder, one of the best defensive guys in the league, best 3-and-D guys in the league. You got him for a steal. I think they signed him to a 3-year, $30 million, actually. I thought it might have been Dario Saric, but I think Jae Crowder actually signed a 3-year, $30 million. So they got this guy locked in for the next few years. He's a great piece to have. When you look at the bench, they got Etwuan Carter, Dario Saric, Cam Johnson, Cam Payne, Etwuan Moore, Langston Galloway, Jalen Smith, who's the other guy? Damian Jones. So the Suns have a pretty deep bench. They have a lot of guys that can play any position. They got a lot of guards. They got a lot of stretch 4s, stretch 3s. You might even see Cam Johnson play some minutes at the 5. It's not ideal. He'll probably play more 3 or 4. But I'm just saying that the Suns have the versatility. With Monty Williams at the helm, I think everything's looking good for the Suns going into the future. They are definitely, and I put money on it. I want to see anyone in the comments give me one good reason why the Suns won't make it to the playoffs. Because I'm willing to put money on it that the Suns are going back to the playoffs, boys. Let me know how you guys feel about the Suns, their future. How's it looking? I think they had a great offseason, and I think they're ready for the future. I think Chris Paul just raised the ceiling of this team by a lot. Shout out to the Suns. Y'all go into the playoffs. Hopefully you can do some damage, at least get to the second round. Other than that, boys, we do new NBA videos every week. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Have a good day.